So what we're gonna do now is I'm gonna wait for my other partner to get here.
He had probable cause.
And we're gonna go try to make contact at that house, okay?
I mean, it is a documented house that has had some narcotic problems.
Remove your head from me.
I mean, we don't want to skip over that.
I recognize you.
It was confusing to me, that's why I had to go back over it a couple of times. The door was obviously open.
I don't even see anybody who was standing up who could have opened the door.
What's up, man?
Did he have time really to identify himself?
Hey.
He didn't say he was SAPD, he didn't say nothing.
What's up, man?
At 1 a.m., he began firing shots.
It was your head!
Multiple shots, not one shot.
I can't tell. He's doing something around his waist.
You won't see any shred of evidence to indicate that he had a weapon.
Shots fired!
Your brain reacts totally and adrenaline takes over.
You're going to have a little adrenaline.
Hey, he had a gun, he pulled it out!
Things are going to be at a little higher level.
Gunshot wound in the chest.
I want his uniform taken away. I want him to pay the same price that we do.
It's messed up. Because nobody was doing anything.
That was the hardest thing I ever had to do in my whole life. Was to bury my boy.
This all started because a lady flagged me down saying that someone in that house punched her.
9 seconds in the darkness of an October morning changed everything for an 18-year-old who had just become a father. Charles Chop Roundtree walked into this San Antonio home alive. He left 217 Robert Street in a body bag.
I want justice for my son. He didn't deserve what happened to him.
Chop Roundtree was killed from a bullet fired by a San Antonio police officer. A bullet meant to take down his friend Devontae Snowden. All of this started, police say, after a couple selling soup in this neighborhood was attacked.
Do you have an ID?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
October 17, 2018, a couple with an infant in the back of the car is delivering Mexican chicken soup to a Facebook customer at 1 in the morning. They flagged down San Antonio police officer Steve Casanova.
He just popped him in the face 3 times.
And that's all he said?
Look, I want to press charges.
Hold on, give me a sec. What was he wearing?
He was wearing a gray sweater, blue jeans. He's black.
Officers were watching the home Maria Herrera and Esteban Preciado parked across the street from. 217 Robert Street is a documented drug house. Casanova brings another officer up to speed.
They were there. I saw her. She had got down across the street. She was dropping off to sell menudo.
I'm selling caldos de pollo.
And this is the
to
girl
get
I
my
saw.
water.
But hold on, hang on. This is the girl that I saw that was across the street. The girl in pink was at the dope house. Dude from there came out and went up to him, was talking shit, saying, "Don't be parking my block," and punched him in the face. Why? Because they were parked there. So looks like we need to go and check the house.
Steve Casanova, the officer taking the criminal complaint and wearing a body camera, is a 5-year veteran of the force who's familiar with 217 Robert Street.
Give me the whole rundown, okay?
Eyewitness News has been working to get this body cam video for months. It arrived in an email sent by someone wishing to remain anonymous. In a statement, SAPD said they could not comment on the case or authenticate the video because Roundtree's family is suing them. We were able to verify the video's authenticity with Snowden's criminal attorney.
Was he a young guy?
Yeah, like in his 20s.
Was he skinny, fat?
Skinny, tall.
How was his hair?
¿Cómo era su pelo? No tenía, ¿verdad? He didn't have any.
No.
So with soup seller's complaint in hand, Casanova makes plans to go to the home.
Yes, man. Myself, 60 and 40 are going to go to the 200 block of Roberts.
2 officers make 217 Roberts with Casanova.
What's up, man?
Inside of the front room are Devontae Snowden, Chop Roundtree, and eyewitness Taylor Singleton. Police claim Snowden is armed.
Do you live here? You don't? Who's staying here right now? You don't know? Remove your head from me. I recognize you.
Officer Casanova walks on the porch, pulls on a screen door, and knocks on the door in front of him.
What's up, man? Hey, let me see your head! Shots fired! Watch out, move out of the way!
2330. Shot fired.
Get back! dog out of here. Hey, he had a gun. He pulled it out.
Shots fired.
Officers scatter to positions of protection. They call for backup as barking dogs also take a protective stance. And remember the man who was on the porch eating? He wants out of the line of fire.
Mother dude. Hold up.
He crawls out under the beam of Casanova's flashlight, but a pit bull follows him. An officer-animal confrontation now begins. It quickly ends. The dog is killed.
Hey, stay in the fucking house!
2330, anyone else, please?
Hey, I'm gonna run over.
Shots are being fired. Over there. Stand by.
Dude. Hey, it's a young cat. He had a hat on, dude. He had a gun in his waist and was pulling it out.
Casanova casts a shadow on the street as he grabs the police radio.
I have a female inside the house, and I have 2 black males, ranges from like 20 to 30. 2 guys with a hoodie on, one had a hat. The guy had a gun in his waist, looked like a 9.
Police fortify their perimeter.
Come to the house, guy! We're not leaving till you come out!
Then the first hint. There is an injury inside the house.
He's yelling something, dude. I don't know who's hit, but someone's hit in that house.
Police tighten their grip on the scene.
She yelled, it's open, bro. Tell her to come out.
Come out one at a time. Put your hands up.
And out of the house comes Devontae Snowden with his hands in the air. One by one, everyone in the house comes out. Hands up and forced to walk backwards. Even an elderly man on a cane must comply.
She said it was a black male between 20 and 25. He had short hair, and that he had like gray pants on with a hoodie.
Casanova recounts his version of what happened to an SAPD detective.
The front door was like slightly open, so I knocked and it swung open. The guy with the gun was sitting down directly in front of me. There was a female next to him and another young kid next to him that, like I said, they both kind of matched the description of that was given. And he said, "Who the are you?" He looked at me, and then I guess it took him a while to realize that I was an officer. So when he did that, he goes, "Man, you can't." And then he kind of stopped what he was doing, and I couldn't see exactly what was in his waist because his hand was covering it. Then he kind of moved it slightly, and I saw gun. But he took like 2 steps towards me, and then he kind of went to the side, and he was like lifting his shirt up. So I fired, I believe, 2 rounds at him.
We invited legal experts Gary Ramey and George Sadler to watch this body cam footage. Ramey is a St. Mary's Law School professor who is an expert in search, seizure, and the use of police force.
I would like for both of these parties to have exercised a little bit more restraint, to acted a little bit less quickly.
George Sadler worked in law enforcement for a total of 45 years at SAPD, the Bexar County DA's office, and the Bexar County Sheriff's Office. He is an expert in investigating officer-involved shootings, and he sees an officer firing in self-defense.
He didn't have much time to make that decision. He fires, and I think where you can come up with he's firing for his safety, he fires and backs away. He doesn't stay at the door. He doesn't continue to try and go in and take hold of the person. He's afraid, he backs up.
But there's a major question.
What's up, man?
About why Casanova never identified himself as an officer.
What's up, man?
If he's shining a light into the house, which he needs to do for his own safety, to make sure that he can see if it's dimly lit inside.
You live here?
He certainly needs to identify himself quickly because he's wearing a dark uniform.
Remove your hat from me.
This is in the middle of the night, so it's not going to be that clear to anybody who's on the porch.
It's justified if he's defending himself or a third party.
Hey, stay in the house!
In this case, it's pretty obvious he's defending himself. He's put himself in the line of fire. He's in fear of his life.
There is nothing at the point of the shooting that would justify a use of deadly force in order to make an arrest.
I'm not aware of anything right off the top of my head that I see that just stands out to me and go, yeah, that's not the way you should have handled that.
If I watched this video and someone asked, did he have a gun or not, I couldn't answer that question based on the video.
Police did find a gun, but it was not inside of the house. Investigators tested the weapon. According to Snowden's attorney, his client's DNA was not on the gun. The law professor says most grand juries are sympathetic to police and act on the recommendation from the DA's office. So these 9 seconds may never reach a court of law, which means no criminal charges for the killing of an unarmed teen at 217 Robert Street.
This all started because a lady flagged me down saying that someone in the house punched her.